Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about right ventricle. This right ventricle is having a thick wall, a triangular chamber that communicates with the right atrium by right atrioventricular orifice and with the pulmonary trunk by the pulmonary orifice. This pulmonary orifice is guarded by the pulmonary valves and the external features coming. It forms most of the sternocostal surface and a part of the diaphragmatic surface and also this inferior border, and it is separated from the right atrium by anterior right part of the coronary sulcus or the atrioventricular groove. Internal structure. The wall is thicker but it is a bit thinner than the left ventricle wall. Interiorly it have two parts, the upper part and the lower part, both of which are separated by the supraventricular crest. Now let me talk about the upper part. The upper part is also called the outflowing region as the blood from here goes out through the pulmonary trunk. It is having a thin wall and it is developed from the bulbocordalis. It is an inverted cone-like structure or inverted funnel-like structure called the infundibulum, and as it is cone-like structure and give rise to the arteries, this is also called conus arteriosus. Now coming to the lower part, this large lower part or called the inflow region, as blood comes into this part from the right atrium, it is called the inflow region that is developed from the primary ventricle. It is large in size and this is a region present below the supraventricular crest. So this region is completely rough, unlike the upper region which is soft. This roughy region have the irregular muscular ridges called the trabeculae carneae. It forms most of the right ventricle. Now, let me talk about this trabeculae carneae. This trabeculae carneae, they're the muscular projections which gives a spongy appearance. Now, this trabeculae carneae, it have some modifications here. This trabeculae carneae, it form pillar-like structures called the papillary muscles. At certain points, what happens is this trabeculae carneae, they get modified to form some pillar-like structures whose base is fixed and apex is free, that is attached to the valves of the tricuspid valve by means of the chordae tendineae. Its apex is free, the base is attached. The apex is attached to the valves of the tricuspid valve by means of the chordae tendineae. These papillary muscles are of three types: anterior papillary muscle, posterior papillary muscle, and septal papillary muscle. This is the anterior, this is the posterior, and this is the septal papillary muscle. These anterior papillary muscles are larger, attached to the anterior and posterior cusps of tricuspid valve, and this posterior papillary muscle, it is attached to the posterior and septal leaves of the tricuspid valve, and septal papillary muscle, it is attached to the septal and anterior leaves of the tricuspid valve. This is all about the papillary muscle, a modification of the trabeculae carneae. Another modification of the trabeculae carneae is septomarginal trabeculae. Septomarginal trabeculae is a modified trabeculae carneae that extend from the base of the papillary muscle to the interventricular septa. So what is its importance? Why so it is modified? The importance is it prevents the over distension of the right ventricle and it conveys a right branch of the bundle of His to the right ventricle. So very important, the septomarginal trabeculae, it conveys the right branch of the bundle of His. Now, I've told in my previous videos about the crux of heart. I told then, I'll tell you about it later. So what is this crux of heart? A meeting point between the three grooves, namely interatrial groove. This is the interatrial groove and posterior coronary sulcus and posterior interventricular groove. This meeting point is called the crux of heart. This is called the crux of